Utah Jazz had a really interesting debut. I'm not talking well. It's the first post game of the season. This is a bad start, but let's keep going against the Houston Rockets and Kevin Durant. Here we go. All right, guys. So, by the way, I am rusty. We have had a whole offseason. This is the first post-game show of the season. I'm actually going to try to post these back to the podcast for those who like to listen, but I prefer the YouTube. So anyways, if you're new here, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about Jazz and Rockets. So we'll talk about the Rockets first, and then we'll go into the Jazz. This Rockets team has the debut of Kevin Durant, and he played very well. This Rockets team looks really good. Kevin Durant goes 7 for 10 from the field. He just showed why he's, just the Hall of Fame scorer that he is. He can just score on anyone. And they're going to be good having that option. You could kind of see how having Kevin Durant on the floor really put everything into place for the Rockets. It just kind of opened things up. And yes, the Jazz defense was the worst in the league last year, and they allowed the Rockets to score 140 in this one, so that's not good. But I think you can take something from that. This Rockets team might have a little bit better offense. I know that Rockets fans were probably really frustrated. Although I guess if you're a Rockets fan, let me know in the comments how frustrated you were. Obviously got to be some frustration with losing Fred VanVleet. But I kind of feel like, in a way, this is a little bit of a blessing in disguise for this Rockets team, because this allows Reed Sheppard to start. Tonight, Reed Sheppard was 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. 3 assists, 4 rebounds. He played pretty solid. And they pick him like number 3 overall. I'm pretty sure it was number 3. At some point, you have to know what you have in a player. And I think that if you're going to pick a player number 3, you've got to play them. If they're not ready, then that's a problem, And so the best way you can get him ready is just play him. As the season goes along, he'll get more experience. He had a lot of G League time last season in his rookie year. Now he's getting a lot more reps than he probably would have before if Fred VanVleet's out there. So this is kind of like a toss him in the water, see if he can swim, and he played well tonight. So we'll see how that continues to go. Amen Thompson was also fantastic for them tonight. He's just such a beast. Athletically, the physical talent is just impressive. Tonight, 19 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. I mean, he is just one of those guys that's going to stuff the stat sheet, because that athleticism and size is awesome, and we know what he can do on the defensive end. So really impressive stuff from him. Tari Eason is also just really nice. Just a physical, although the numbers tonight, 2 for 7 from the field, 8 points. I don't know. That's an interesting one to watch with the contract situation going on. But 8 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds for him. And then obviously Şengün is just extremely solid tonight. 13 points, 13 assists for Şengün. That's pretty fun. So interesting stuff from this Rockets team. No doubt they are going to be in contention in the Western Conference. We'll just see how far they go. Kind of depends on how good and consistent Reed Sheppard is, but if he plays like tonight, that's good enough, because you got Amen Thompson and Kevin Durant and Şengün, and even Jabari Smith played really well tonight. He's been looking like he's taken a little bit of a leap. 18 points, 3 rebounds, and a block. Pretty good. 7 for 11 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. I mean, that's pretty darn nice. The Rockets are showing that once you have that core of young players that you draft, once you get them, at their... By the way, I forgot to bring up the stream here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Go. Sorry, guys. I missed. There we go. Sorry. Anyways, he just shows that when you collect a great group of young talent and let them grow and develop, then you can add veterans and make some interesting moves. Like they go out and get Kevin Durant, and then all of a sudden you're really, really good. The trade for Fred VanVleet, the trade for all the different guys they've brought in, and then you combine that with your draft picks. It changes everything. All right, enough about the Rockets. Shall we talk about the Utah Jazz? Guys, before this game started, I would not have allowed myself to even, I mean, I might have allowed myself to think it, but I wouldn't have allowed myself to say it. And I definitely wouldn't have allowed myself to tweet it, because those types of tweets can backfire. But I was so impressed with Ace Baiely tonight. And I had a feeling this was coming because of what we saw in Summer League in those 2 little stints. It was awesome. By the way, we've got this little, okay. There's some new tools and things with Facebook, with YouTube Live. Thank you everyone for being on, by the way. But anyways, I cannot tell you how excited I am about Ace Baiely. That is just absolutely the lead. He is everything you could kind of hope. And I think what's crazy about this, I tweeted this. This is the worst he's going to be, right? This is the worst that Ace Baiely is going to be right now. Now, when the regular season starts and you're facing higher level defenders, yes, there's going to be some struggle and the defenses are going to lock in a little bit. And then obviously there's the next level if you make the playoffs. But right now is his worst level. And what does he do in his preseason debut? 11 for 16 from the field for 25 points. That's 2 for 5 from 3. 1 for 1 from the free throw line. We can talk about that a little bit. But 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I mean, not only did he have the scoring stats, he had the defensive stats. And in a game the Jazz lost by, 14, whatever, or 13, he's only a -7. And that's going up against KD. He was guarding KD for a lot of this. Impressive stuff. I can't tell you. I mean, this is like, I don't even know. This is just territory I have not been in. I've just not really been. Maybe you guys have felt this before, but for the Jazz to have a 6'8", 6'9" wing who defends on one end and scores on the other, I mean, come on. We have just not really seen this. And this is the type of player that you draft high. It's why you tank, so you can get a player like this. We're already seeing the fruits of it. And I tell you what, watching tonight, I mean, I guess there's so many things to talk about. I mean, we are back, baby. We are back. But this is why you tank. This is why you try to get top picks, because this is the type of talent you can add. And guess what? At minimum, Utah has him for 7 years, if not more, with how strict the CBA is and how much money you can pay him. I know we're talking 7 years from now, but this is why you build through the draft. This is why. There is no way Utah would have gotten a player of this caliber on their team in any other way. Like Giannis right now sounds like he could probably be had. And there's no way the Jazz could get him. I mean, you're going to have to outbid other teams to get a player like that. So if you draft them and they develop into this type of player, I mean, I can't believe we have Ace Baiely. Thank you, Omar Cooper. Thank you so much. Spilled the statue. Someone build the statue, and I want it of that video where he's in the car listening to Jay-Z. I want that as a statue. In fact, I want a statue of that and put it on the wall here. In fact, I'm thinking about changing my background here. Just a side note. Thinking of just getting like an electric sign behind me. That's the idea. But anyways, guys, I can't tell you enough. I mean, and they even have his makes here. We're not gonna do that. But he scored in a variety of ways. And one of the things I noticed, yes, he scored the threes, which was great. The mid-range games, he was doing that curl play into the mid-range. And by the way, Keontae George hitting him in stride, 9 assists tonight. But anyways, he's pulling up, knocking it down, doing these things, and he's a rookie. A rookie. This is preseason. And by the way, I know that the Jazz allowed a lot of points tonight, but so did the Rockets. And they're one of the better defenses in the NBA. And Ace Baiely did this. Yes, it's preseason. Sprinkle some grains of salt there. But I mean, this is just absolutely best case scenario you could have hoped for. And what's crazy, like I said, this is the worst he's going to be. There are things he can improve on. That handle, that drive to the basket. What if Ace Baiely kind of learns to drive to the basket and draw fouls? Tonight, he was just 1 for 1 from the free throw line. But what if he gets to the point where he gets to the line 5 to 7 free throws per game? That's like that elite level. If you can get to like 7, that's where things get really exciting. And I mean, there's just not enough to say. I mean, some of these players really struggle early on because maybe they're not quite as big, like Keontae George looks like he's figuring things out, but it's year 3 and it's just still going to be a process. Ace Baily's 6'8" with great athleticism, size, and strength and athleticism, and also top that off with an incredible base skill set with that shooting and all that he does. So we shouldn't be surprised that he has an efficient night. He had a couple buckets where because he's 6'8", 6'9", and near the basket, he can just get the ball near the basket and dunk it, right? And that's going to be part of the efficiency. Whereas a player like Keontae, who I love, but he's got, more room to grow, has to figure out how to score and be efficient in a lot of different, more difficult ways, to be honest. So I think we're going to see a lot of nights like this from Ace where there's some efficiency there because of his physical gifts and talent, his ability to be around the basket at times. He's obviously looking like a 3-level scorer, and he's an athlete. He had 2 buckets in transition tonight off of pick sixes. That's the other thing, is he's 6'8", whatever he is, 6'9" with whatever. It's big enough, obviously, but he is doing these things and playing defense. The athleticism and size is showing up on the defensive end, and that probably gets me more excited than anything. He was going over screens, and he's really fluid, and he's getting pick sixes and stealing the ball and going the other way. Fantastic. Let's see. So he ends this 6 rebounds. He's a rebounder too, by the way. So him being able to go up and get those rebounds, him getting 3 assists tonight. That was another thing we've got to talk about. His ball movement was impressive. I mean, he doesn't look like LeBron out there with 9 assists, but he moved the ball within the offense. He found open guys. He set guys up for good shots. Like that shot he set up Cody Williams on, who did not have a very good game today. But that one bucket that Cody Williams made was set up by Ace. And he is not a selfish player. When the shot's not there, he's reading it quickly and making a good pass. I mean, it wasn't perfect. There were a few times where you saw him kind of have that yo-yo dribble a little bit, but then he moved the ball. And as the game went on, you could see he was getting even quicker with his decisions. He was making smart moves. And when you've got a player like Ace Baiely, who he's looking like a legit threat on that offensive end, it just makes the defense scramble. If he starts absolutely moving and getting to his spots on the floor, it scrambles the defense and it opens things up. And we saw that today where he goes and he gets into that mid-range. They had to respect it. And then all of a sudden you've got guys coming over and he finds open guys. So there's room for improvement. Maybe that handle gets better and he becomes even more of a playmaker where you just give him the ball and go let him score, kind of like KD does. Maybe he gets to that basket more and initiates contact and creates free throw opportunities, because that is that next level opportunity where you become just an efficient scorer night after night. That free throw line talent is important. And that's one of the kind of question marks about his game, but we've seen him improve already so much with his time here, and it's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. So really excited about it. Let's see. Let's talk about next. Okay, Svi Mikhailiuk played. He had some rough turnovers, although he made a few good plays in his defense. But by the way, Ace Baiely, just 2 turnovers. That's perfect. Played 31 minutes tonight. In fact, Ace Baiely led the team in minutes tonight. So really great stuff. Let's see. Svi Mikhailiuk, he goes 4 for 11 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. Not much to say. I think Svi Mikhailiuk may be one of those players that drives the tank this season. Utah, I mean, this is going to be an interesting season, because what if Ace Bailey's like rookie of the year caliber in a year where we're going to see Cooper Flagg? I mean, this is as good a stat line as you could hope. And what if Ace just, I mean, it's exciting stuff, guys. It's really exciting stuff. But there are going to be situations where Utah can put out lineups out there, not necessarily, well, maybe trying to lose. They're not, I think there's going to be times, I know they said they're not going to manipulate lineups, but it doesn't mean in game they can't put out Svi Mikhailiuk for a few plays and force him to go solo ISO on Amen Thompson. Svi Mikhailiuk, will go to the Wolves and we will watch you be shredded. And it's okay because we want Darren Peterson. I mean, that's the other thing that gets exciting about this, guys. I hope everyone is seeing the vision. I hope we're all seeing it. When you get these guys at the top of the draft, they're such high-level caliber players. I mean, that's the thing. The types of things you hope for in a player, these guys have, right? Like, if only Keontae George was 6'8". Well, you know what? He's playing pretty good at his height, but now we've got Ace Baiely. You don't have to wish for those things, right? Like the years with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. If only Donovan Mitchell was a little bit bigger, then he'd be the best player in the league. Well, you know what? To get that type of guy, you got to draft him high, right? So, it's anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that, but we're going to move on. Okay, the other player that was really impressive tonight, I mean, there was a few players and young players that were really impressive, but the one that also just looks so much more comfortable, and it's so nice to see him back. Taylor Hendricks played 27 minutes tonight. He was 5 for 9 from the field. That included 4 for 8 from 3, and he took two, like to start the game, took 2 threes. The first one was hand in his face, contested 3, buried it. 1 for 4 from the free throw line. You know, that can obviously improve, but that's not something you worry about. 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Hendricks, 2 steals. I'm so happy to have Taylor Hendricks back, and this is just kind of the perfect line, and he looks so good at that 4 spot. He can guard all over the floor, and this score is a little misleading because Utah was up in this game in the first half, and they went toe-to-toe with this Rockets team throughout the game. The Rockets pulled out late and got a big run against like Svi and Kevin Love or whoever. It was the older player like Kyle Anderson. Can't remember the trio, but they went on a run against the older players. It's a really good sign when the younger players are the ones keeping you in the game and playing defense. And it's a reminder that having wings that defend and also score, big wings. I like me some wings. They can defend, they can score, and all of a sudden your defense looks a lot more interesting. Like having Ace Baiely and Taylor Hendricks, and hopefully they both continue to improve as defensive players. But that is how you create a very good defense in the NBA. Having that type of size and athleticism is big time. And it's exciting stuff, and you can see the vision with this Jazz team. I tell you what, there's if Taylor Hendricks is scoring like this at the 4 spot and defending at an elite level, things get real interesting in that trade market. I'll just say that. Car Wash Channel, are you going to buy a new dog after the loss of your old? Yes, we will. And by the way, thank you to everyone for all your kind comments. I miss Audrey dearly. $4.99 is super, super generous. Thank you so much. Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. Yes, we will see. We're not going to go into it, but probably early next year, maybe. We'll see. I'm looking between. I kind of want to get 2 dogs, to be honest. I miss Audrey a lot. Honestly, it sucks so much. Maybe a bulldog. We're looking at a Newfoundland, and maybe Ace is a good name. Maybe the other one we're looking at is Bernese Mountain Dog. Audrey was a Labradoodle. She was the best dog ever. Really sad, and you can go watch the video about her, but thank you, Car Wash. I really appreciate it. Anyways, back to Taylor Hendricks. I think that's just what I'm excited about is Taylor Hendricks fits exactly what this Utah Jazz vision is. Big athletic wings that can switch and guard all over the floor. And I'm so excited about it. Like, this is what I've always dreamed of. When we're in the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert era and just did not have any defensive players on the floor ever. We had good shooters. Bojan Bogdanovic was a good shooter, but he was a little bit older and not a lockdown wing defender, not particularly athletic. You have Joe Ingles out there, who was pretty good when he first started on the Jazz, and you could see why the Jazz won a playoff series. He was a big part of that, guarding Paul George, but his athleticism tapered off big time. And A lot of reliance on Royce O'Neal, who's undersized. Now all of a sudden Utah has 6'8", 6'9" Ace Baiely, 6'9", 6'10", whatever he is, Taylor Hendricks. And if you start adding more and more players like that, man, things get really interesting really fast. And this game, we didn't even have Walker Kessler play, who we got to talk about that a little bit too. Got to remind me, guys, we got to talk about a lot tonight. This is going to be a long one. But you can see the vision. And if you get in this draft, if you get, like, let's say the Jazz win the lottery again and you add DeBonsa to Baiely and what the Jazz are doing now, or you add, like, it's starting to become my personal favorite is probably actually either Darren Peterson or Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer looking like an absolute Tim Duncan revival. Oh my gosh. Things get so interesting. The one that I'm really interested in is, can Taylor Hendricks play center at some point? Maybe. If he can, holy smokes, do things get interesting. Especially if you draft, like, if the Jazz draft Cam Boozer, then I kind of want to see Taylor Hendricks as center and put Cam Boozer at the 4 and Ace Baiely at the 3. And oh my gosh. Oh, let's just not even worry about it, because if we lose, it's gonna break my heart. The lottery, that is. All right, next player we got to talk about, and he played really well tonight. I was really impressed. Keyonte George, starting point guard tonight. He goes, oh, thank heaven, 7 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. That is, 63% from the field, guys. He was making the right choices. He looked so much more comfortable out there. And by the way, that was against a very good defensive team in the Rockets. That's Amen Thompson, who is like, in the Halloween movies, he's Jason out there on the defensive end. He is terrifying. And Keyonte George goes 7 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 9 assists, and also 0 turnovers. Impressive start for Keyonte George. Playing point key, baby. The key point of this game was Keyonte George manning the offense. He made some impressive passes. And it felt like, there's still a few times where Key likes to put that ball between his legs and ISO. And sometimes that's the right play, by the way. Sometimes it's late in the shot clock, the defense is broken down, you're playing against a good defensive team, and someone just has to go ISO. By the way, the Jazz do that in practices. When they sent me, this was years ago, I did not make it. But the Salt Lake City Stars they messaged me and had me try out for the Stars, and I went and tried out. 5'8" me, right? Against... And one of the drills that the Jazz do and the Stars do is ISO drill. And you go and you just play ISO one at a time. And I went up against a guy that was like 6'9". And anyways, it's something you practice. He blocked my one, but guess what? I got that one shot off. About 30 pump fakes later, we got that shot off. Even though... By the way, worst embarrassing moment ever was during the scrimmage. Royce O'Neal was there, and we got a steal, and I was the breakaway guy, and I was fatter then. I was 20 pounds, like 20, 25 pounds fatter on that day, and I was going down the court, and I got the outlet pass. The guy coming to defend it, very much quicker, longer, and more athletic than me, caught up. And I tried to break, and I fell down at the basket in front of Royce O'Neal sitting on a chair and Tony Jones. And I fell down on the ground. I think Jonathan Tavernari was there trying out too, or just doing it for fun. Who knows? But I fell on the ground like a crumple of fat white man, like a pudgy cookie with legs, fell to the ground. It was terrible. Anyways, where were we? But anyways, I'm so impressed with Key. He is making quicker decisions. He's manning that point guard position, and I think he could hold that spot. If you have him as an elite scorer, or at least an efficient one, and he can get the ball and he can play that one. Let's say Darren Peterson is there to draft, and he's 6'5", and let's say he's more of the lead guard. I could see Keyonte George being that secondary scoring point, right? That he can be like Darren Peterson is the main guy. Basically, when you think Darren Peterson this upcoming season in college, think very much similar to like an SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He looks incredible, guys. Looks awesome. But if you put a player like that and he's at the 2, but he's kind of the lead guard and Key plays off of him, that makes you so interesting. So interesting. And so, anyways, I liked what I saw from Keyonte George a lot. It's one game, but my goodness, was that efficient, and he was taking good shots. And, the whole point of that whole story was that sometimes ISO is the right play. Sometimes you just have to, everything's broken down. You've got 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and you've got to break down your man and score. And that's the right play. And sometimes it's the right move, but it's also knowing when it's not. And it's knowing when it's understanding the shot clock. It's running the offense, and he did a good job tonight. By the way, in this loss, best plus-minus of the game, Keyonte George. He was an even plus-minus in a game the Jazz lost by 13. So, can we please stop bad-mouthing Keyonte George on the websites, on the internet? All right, he was good. Okay, the other guy. We've got a lot of guys that were really good. We'll talk about the guys that were not. But the other guy that was really good, Bryce Sensabaugh, my goodness, is he turning into a sniper, shooting that ball. Tonight, 9 for 15 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3. I don't think it's out of the question that Bryce Sensabaugh, because his 3-point percentage was top-notch last year, and it was good enough that it was getting noticed by all the nationals. He has a chance to be the best 3-point shooter in the NBA, like have the highest percentage, because he's going to get minutes, and he shoots it. I mean, my gosh, he shoots it well, and it really feels like he's figuring it out. Now, we've seen stretches where Sensabaugh has gone through slumps, and this is what I always say with slumps. Almost always there's some sort of injury involved. If a player's just all of a sudden shooting it terribly, you can just bet that there is some sort of ankle or, some sort of sore hamstring or something that's just causing them to not shoot it quite like they normally do. When he's healthy and playing in rhythm like he did tonight, he is great. And not only is he shooting the ball from 3 well, but he was like finding other different ways to score, little pull-up mid-rangers. But him being this just absolute lights-out 3-point shooter is exciting. The defense has got to be good. It's got to improve. And, the turnovers have to be better. But you know what? Tonight was really also a great thing for him. Just 1 turnover. He has been a turnover problem in the past, where it's just, for a player that plays off the ball and turn it over as much as he does, was a little nerve-wracking. But, he played well tonight. 1 turnover, didn't make bad decisions. And that's great. And having a shooter like that is always something you're going to want on your team, especially someone who's shooting 60% from 3. Are you serial? 60%? If he shoots 60% from 3, it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor. But when Bryce Sensabaugh is on the floor, he should be shooting it, right? Let it fly, Bryce. Okay, Yusuf Nurkic started tonight, and I actually thought it was pretty solid. And there were some interesting things from it that, I don't, we got to talk about this a little bit. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists for Nurkic. The Jazz ran the ball through Nurkic a lot tonight. He was getting the ball at the top of the 3-point line, free throw line extended, and making good passes. I mean, it's really interesting when you have a center that can shoot the 3 and can also pass the ball like that. I mean, that's what makes Jokic so incredible, is he's a great, incredible shooter, incredible passer, fantastic vision. And then you combine that with his handle. We're not going to talk about Jokic, but you can see why that opens up an offense, because it opens up the basket. There's not a center, especially against teams that have like a rim protecting center. It's why everyone talks about Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert's great, but against a team like the Nuggets with Jokic out at the 3-point line, it forces Rudy Gobert out of the paint. And yes, he'll defend well against that particular player, but his biggest strength is protecting the rim. And so having a center that can do that and stretch the floor really opens up that paint and allows other players to be much more efficient. And I am positive that Utah would love to have, it's just a great, this is just good data. Like, this is what you really want. And it's why those centers are so valuable. A Chet Holmgren is getting big time money because he does two things. He protects the rim and he also shoots the ball and can score on the other end. And so not only does it provide you that valuable rim protection, you guys talking about the screen, we'll see. I have some reasons that I'm not. I'm going to figure, don't worry, we'll probably go back to that, but we'll see. Because there's some opportunities I get by not having it on the screen. But anyways, just back to that. The point I'm trying to make here is Jusuf Nurkic's play really opened things up for the offense. And he actually played pretty well defensively too. I think, so this whole situation with Walker Kessler is an interesting one because he is a traditional center. He's very good. Like, he has very good rim protection numbers. He rolls to the basket. He is not a shooter, and he's not a free throw shooter. And there's some missing elements to his game that I can understand why Utah does not want to pay him what he's probably asking, right? The Oklahoma City Thunder paid our Isaiah Hartenstein like 25 to 30 million. It's somewhere there. I can't remember exactly what it is. If anyone can find that and paste that. But I'm sure that's what Walker Kessler is asking for, is 25 to 30 million. I don't think the difference between what the Thunder are doing and what the Jazz are doing is the Thunder have their established stars on their team. SGA, Chet, Williams. They had that extra cap space to fill a need, and that need was to have a strong center option, because Chet can also play the four at times. He can spread the floor. Utah doesn't. I mean, Ace Baiely is looking like, for sure, one of our big 2 or 3, whatever it ends up being. Ace Bailey's looking like it. But you don't want to spend all that money, especially at that position, unless that's an absolute need. And so I can see why the Jazz are being very careful. You can't just throw $30 million at Walker Kessler. The Jazz have already thrown $46 million to Lauri Markkanen. By the end of his contract, he's going to be at like $54 million. And I know the cap went up, but you got to be careful because the cap can also go down in the future. And so I just felt like tonight with Jusuf Nurkic, who does spread the floor, he moves the ball surprisingly well. 5 for 5 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3. He was pretty solid. And obviously, you're not going to have Jusuf Nurkic in the future, but it just showed you kind of what this offense can be. And if Utah has someone in this draft they can go get, or let's say they win the lottery, and then maybe, who knows? I guess maybe they do sign Walker Kessler for that, but I also have a hard time because if Walker Kessler is clogging the paint, it makes life a little bit more difficult for guys like Ace Baiely. I mean, Ace Baiely was able to get to the rim, and he had like 6 points where he was just able to cut to the basket. And I mean, I think he had like 8 points, a couple where he was, he positioned himself near the basket and just received the pass and dunked it. And he had a few more where he cut to the basket. And if you have a center near the basket, it makes it a little difficult to get those kind of cut to the basket plays. I mean, that's where so much of what Jokic does and makes so much of his money is just getting those cutters to the basket, because he's got the ball at 3-point line and he's just finding the open guy. Guys are setting off-ball screens to open up cuts to the basket, and then that opens up even more opportunities. You get a guy cutting the basket, it means the weak side defender comes over, and all of a sudden Aaron Gordon's open for an easy dunk. You can see how it's going. But if you just have a traditional center like Walker Kessler who's just sitting in the dunker's spot, that side of the floor is now blocked off, and you're running everything from the other side. It just limits a lot of what you can do. It just does. I mean, you can still have an efficient offense and do a lot of things. It's just tough. It's why I'm very pro. I just want to see the development of Taylor Hendricks and how big he is. Is he big enough to be a center? And maybe you just run an offense where you don't, or a defense where you don't necessarily have just this, plant his feet in the paint, drop big, and you have more of a switching defense with length and athleticism in every spot, and who knows? So it's going to be fascinating to see how this Jazz team develops and grows. I mean, you've got some real core guys, and I have lots of hopes going into the season, wondering what this was gonna look like. But it certainly looks like the Jazz have some core pieces, and I'd say, Ace Baiely for sure. Taylor Hendricks is looking like a core piece, absolutely. Keontae George, if he plays like he does tonight, plays himself into a core piece kind of role, and there's some other guys too. I mean, we'll see what happens with Lauri Markkanen, but if Taylor Hendricks is playing like this, it's gonna be hard to get him off the floor with the defense, because Lauri's probably a better shooter, but tonight Taylor Hendricks 4 for 8 from 3. That's pretty exciting stuff. And then when you consider that he brings that defensive element, it's gonna be an interesting season. We'll just say that, okay? Kevin Love was also nice. 3 for 3 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. 12 points, 6 rebounds. I actually thought he played pretty decent defense. It's nice to see him on the floor, and it just shows, again, Utah for all 48 minutes had spread floor, and they scored against a good defense 127 points. So that tells you something. And if Utah gets even more good defensive wing, size and talent, it just gets really exciting really fast. Utah is definitely going to be interested in keeping their pick this year, because my goodness, I feel like if Ace Baiely is this good and you add like a DeBonsa, if you add Darren Peterson, or you add Cam Boozer, you've got your superstar duo. You give them all the money, you fill the gaps, you keep drafting, you keep filling it with good players, and then you make a big-time trade, and all of a sudden, you are contending, right? I hope we're all seeing the vision, because holy smokes, did we see the vision tonight with Ace Baiely. Holy smokes. Okay, some players that were not very good. Cody Williams, it's disappointing. I had hopes. But goes 1 for 5 tonight. The one bucket was that nice setup from Ace Baiely. And you know what? It's okay. We're going to let him play, and he may be a little bit of a tank commander, and that's fine. And if it just doesn't work out, it is what it is. You're not going to hit on every single player, right? And he's eating a lot. He's trying to build strength. He looked better in Summer League, which is a good sign. So it's not like you just give up, but man, it's just, sometimes you just wonder, do you have the mentality? Like, there was that moment in this game, and I actually think KD was yelling at Isaiah Collier is what people are actually thinking but KD, absolutely just, it was either against Ace Baiely or Isaiah Collier, but he was just absolutely talking a bunch of mess, just saying, shut your mouth, you're new here, sit your blank down. And that's the NBA. One of the elements of the NBA, and it's an important one, mental toughness. When you got a Hall of Famer in Kevin Durant, a top 15 player of all time, telling you are garbage and scoring on you and talking down to you and trying to just lay into you verbally, you have to be tough. You have to be mentally strong, because that's going to not be fun. And you are on a big stage, and the NBA, and it's the reason why I love it so much, is because it is just the grandest theater of all sports, because it is guys trying to dunk on you. They are not just trying to win the game. They're trying to embarrass you. They're trying to destroy your honor. And you have to go out there and you have to be aggressive back. You cannot be bullied. You have to bully the bullies back. And if you don't have that mentality, if you wilt, It's tough. One of the things, if you ever have a chance, try at some point, save your monies if you can, and try to get tickets to a game and be in like the first 10 or 15 rows, because you can really sense it there. But when you get that close, guys, you see how physical it is, how hard these guys play, and how hard they hit you. I remember I was watching, it was Stevenson. I forgot what his first name was. He was that kind of, remember, he was the guy that was big and athletic on the Pacers. And remember, he used to defend LeBron James. And remember the famous time where he was trying to get in LeBron James' head and was kind of blowing in his ear. Speaking of mental games in the NBA. But I remember I got to be up close one time, and I could not believe how hard he put his shoulder into some of the Jazz players. It was like, boom. And these guys are the biggest, strongest athletes in the world. And obviously it's not like football, but I promise, get close. It will change your opinion of things and how hard this game is. Lance Stevenson, thank you. He's a big, big dude. And I don't know. You have to be strong. Basketball is painful too. It is pain. You are having LeBron James, 6'10" or whatever he is, 11, absolute freight train, going down the lane, putting his shoulder into your chest, trying to crack your ribs as he's going up to the basket. He is going to win this game. It is not fun. Like, you got to be a little bit cuckoo in the head. You have to be a little bit, because you have to just be able to get up and do it every single possession. And if at any single moment they sense fear or weakness or blood in the water, it is like sharks on an injured seal, and they will tear you up. So that is one of the worries I have with Cody Williams. You have got to have that mentality. You've got to. And I don't know if he does. Maybe he'll get it. Maybe with strength, he can get that confidence, but we will see. Walter Clayton struggled, although, what's interesting? He kind of struggled in the first Summer League game he played, and he looked a little bit small, but he figured it out. And I actually don't think he played poorly, but the shooting numbers weren't great. 3 for 10 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. One of those was that block. I'm not that worried about him, but I think, we'll see. I don't know if he's going to be a starting point guard. Maybe. But more likely, I think he has a chance to be a really nice off-the-bench scoring guard. And that can, have spot starter minutes. We'll see. Who knows? Never say never. Maybe he develops into just an insane scorer. But I think you saw the makings, and he looked pretty comfortable. I mean, he's going to have to figure things out because he is undersized. He's 6'1" or whatever he is, 6'1". So that's just big enough where I think if you're an off the bench scorer, I think you can survive. But he can shoot the ball great. We saw it in Summer League. I think he'll have a chance to figure it out. It'll be fun to see how good he can be. But there might be games where he comes off the bench and just lights it up, and it'll be fun to watch. Kyle Anderson was a tank commander tonight. I know he was -4, but he played 60 minutes. I guess -4 is interesting. Walter Clayton, by the way, I guess -13, worst plus minus. So maybe there's a defensive issue. We'll have to watch that closely. Kyle Anderson, not much to say. I don't think the Jazz are too worried, although he did have 6 assists. So veteran play from him. I don't know if he was particularly great, but he wasn't really bad either. He was like a C-. I don't know. He was passable. So that was interesting. Elijah Harkless, not much to say on him. I don't really know what the future holds. He'll probably hold a spot, but I don't think we're looking at Elijah Harkless being a major part of the future. We'll see. You never say never. Guys, we talked about it already, I guess. I wanted to talk about kind of like what the center... There's a lot of interesting things to look at here. And you want to have an offense that's open and fluid and adheres to the strengths of your players while also defending on the other end. And that is the biggest thing with your team, is you've just got to figure out how to do both. And Utah has some really interesting pieces. It still feels a little hodgepodge. You know, they're still figuring out who's who. But for the first time in a while, you could just see, oh, these are the core. These are the core. And if they, you know, we'll see. Keep playing better, we'll see. But, man, things are going to be interesting for this Utah Jazz team. If Taylor Hendricks is as good as he was tonight, and if Ace Baiely is as good as he looked, and they're just going to get better, it's really exciting stuff. All right, guys. All right, let's see here. I think that's all we've got for tonight. We've got to give a shout out to the All-Stars. I've missed you, All-Stars and members of the channel. I've missed you guys. I hope you've missed me, although I've been doing videos. I've been trying my best to do as much video content as I possibly can, and I just want to do more. Just want to do more. All right, let's see. I got to load this up. Man, I'm acting like a real rookie tonight. Let's see. All right, let's pull this up. We got to pull up the list. We got our All-Stars. By the way, guys, thank you so much for the support. If you'd like to join the channel and support what I'm doing, I would really appreciate it. And I'm going to start doing more member-only stuff because I want to really reward everyone for who joins the channel. But I certainly want to give a shout-out to the All-Stars tonight. Let's give a shout-out to Sia, Alexa Later, Jordan the Goat Best Roll, Ryan Edward Perry, The Legend, Christian House Money to Haas, Robert Hall of Fame, Cam Bam, thank you, man, Cam Chin 3, I Believe in Steve, Jazz Exile, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Flipping the Script, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Guys, I got it right. I got it right. I'd probably take Cody, Killer Nation, just for the potential. But you never know. Maybe Tanji's really good. He didn't play tonight, so I don't know. All right, guys, like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's just going to be such a fun season. I'm so excited. Tonight was fantastic. I will talk to you